Welcome to the Lunar Magic forecast of June. Now we're still facing this global pandemic. So many things are going on that this forecast is going to give you a little bit of insight of what is happening this month. Now the energies are really slowing down and turning more into this introspective phase, which we have been in already for a while, but is only going to increase. And if you think that's a negative thing, keep listening, because I will explain to you how you can use this introspective energy in your benefit. So we have two more planets going into retrograde. We have Mercury and Neptune. We start the month up with a full moon lunar eclipse. We have a new moon solar eclipse. We have summer solstice. So there is a lot going on. So let's just dive in. So we're going to start with the full moon on June the 5th in 15 degrees Sagittarius, which is also a lunar eclipse. This kicks off the eclipse season. And every eclipse season, we're being asked to suspend our judgment even more. So think about the full moon. It usually, when there is a full moon, it illuminates the night sky. But when there is a lunar eclipse, we don't see as much light. So a full moon always brings up our shadows. It intensifies our emotions. And when that happens, when there is a lunar eclipse happening, we actually feel the delay of the emotions, the delay of the things that are gonna surface and things that are going to come up for you. So don't be shocked if a few days after the full moon you actually feel the intensity suddenly hitting you because of this delay, because of the lunar eclipse. Now Sagittarius, when there's a full moon in Sagittarius, it asks us to look at our belief systems, how we've been showing up. Sagittarius also rules adventure, it rules learning, the higher learning. So it's really a good time to evaluate those topics. And where have you been blocking yourself from reaching your potential? So where have you maybe been overly optimistic, because Sagittarius loves to see everything in the bright light. Where have you been hiding away from the truth, from the reality? Where have you not been honest to yourself, but also the things that are happening? Maybe you've even been irresponsible. So this is a time without judgment. So we're not here to point fingers. We're not here to say who did it right, who did it wrong. This is a time to look at the things you can release. So this is a learning moment. This is not a judging moment. But again, this might happen a few days later when the releasing can actually happen. So during this, you might feel like even your body's like holding on to all of this tension, holding on to all of the things that came up before it can be released. So give yourself some grace around that. On June 18th, we have Mercury going into retrograde in Cancer, and it will last until July 12th. So every time when Mercury goes into retrograde, you're being asked to basically do everything that has the word re in front of, reevaluate, review, everything that involves looking at what you have done in the previous months. Now we have this evaluation phase every 2-3 times a year, so it's really good for us to see where we stand. Like, what are we doing? Where do we want to go? And like I said at the beginning, this is a slowing down phase. Mercury retrogrades in Cancer, which means that your communication is much softer, and there is this softness of energy around the way you communicate to yourself. It's a really good time to tend to things close to home, take care of your inner child, and really do the work on the inside, on your emotions, because Cancer is really the emotional sign. It's a sign where we are much more in tune with our intuition and also with our emotions and feelings. On June 21st, we have an action-packed day, because that day the sun moves into Cancer, which signifies summer solstice. And on the same day, we have the new moon solar eclipse at 0 degrees Cancer. So when the sun moves into Cancer, we move from Gemini season into the more softer, the feeling energy, where Gemini kind of wants to rationalize things and is more on the practical side. It's like this comes in, that goes out. where Cancer is much more feeling into the situations. It is a nice energy to have around us in this time because it softens us up. It really allows ourselves to get more in touch with our emotions, to allow ourselves to feel the things on a deeper level. It's also the brightest day of the longest day of the year, so we have the most light during the day. So celebrate that. Celebrate the fertility. Celebrate the abundance that the earth gives us. And we have seen that Mother Earth, when she sends us to our room, when we stay inside, she actually rejuvenates herself. So she's showing us that if you take good care of me, I take good care of you. So this is also an invitation for us to even go deeper into that feeling and allow ourselves to go with what feels right for everybody, just not for ourselves. But what is good for Mother Earth? How can we give back to her, and how can we help her replenish and rejuvenate the way that she did when we all are in our homes? Now, that same day, we have the new moon solar eclipse at 0 degrees Cancer. And this new moon is a beautiful time to set intentions, but again, there is an eclipse. So the actual effect of it is felt a few days after the new moon. So set your intentions around the emotions. Let things happen because it's an emotional sign. So expect that things will be stirred up. Every new moon, you're very much in tune with your intuition. But now maybe what your intuition is giving to you might be a little bit too much to handle in terms of emotions. So give yourself a lot of grace around this time. Don't push yourself. Make sure there's enough space for you to process these emotions, and then when it feels right, to set your intentions. Because if you're trying to push through and really not allow yourself to go into that flow, because Cancer is a water sign, it's not going to work. You're just going to hit the wall and over and over and over again, and it doesn't feel good. So give yourself enough time and space. On June 23rd, we have Neptune going into retrograde in Pisces. This one lasts until November 28th. And this is the sixth planet that goes into retrograde. A few days later, the first one comes out, but this is the time where we have 6 planets in retrograde. So this is what I mentioned about the introspective quality of this month. Now, when Neptune goes into retrograde, it's a little bit more subtle because it's an outer planet and its influence is a little bit less personal, but more on a social and global scale. But what will happen is that Neptune really allows us to tune into our dreamy side, our flow, our intuition. And when that planet goes into retrograde, we actually have a little bit the same with Jupiter. We can see a little bit more clearly because we're not too much distracted by all of the imagination that you have going on with all of the softer, the flowy type of energy. But it helps you to see things in a unique and more grounded way. So it's really good to look at that for that period. On June 25th, we have Venus going out of retrograde. Yes, the first planet is going direct. And this is really a sigh of relief for your finances and for your romance. It's really good to start getting back into the flow, and you will start to experience more coherency in your business as well. Things will go more smoothly. You will be able to get projects off a little bit faster because Venus is starting to move forward again. Then on June 30th, we have the second Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. The first one happened on April 4th, and the third one will happen on November 12th. But this is the second one, and it's a very important one because where April's Jupiter-Pluto conjunction was much more about ending of cycles and wrapping things up and learning our lessons, this one, because they're also both in retrograde, is much more about the integration. So there's not much that we need to do. This is about integrating the meaning that we have found when we explored what the ending of cycles means to us and how we can use that to start moving forward. So this is a good time to evaluate also your successes. What has been helping you? What has been stopping you? And then how can you set it up so when the planets come together in November, you actually are able to start moving forward in a much faster way because you have done the work right now. Like I said, a lot of planets in retrograde. At this point, at the end of June, you have 5 planets in retrograde. So it's really good time for you to tune into the energy and bring in that introspective quality that maybe we tend to kind of hide away from because it doesn't serve us, but it's a really good time to embrace all of that. And that wraps up June. If you want more information, and if you also want to have a full PDF guide with all of the information of this month, you can click the link below the video and you can download the worksheet. You can download the forecast on PDF completely, and you will get that automatically at the beginning of the month. So you will never miss out on what is happening energy-wise. And especially in this time, it's really good to tune into the energies, to flow with that instead of trying to fight all of that.